And this is the really fun one. Steam has updated its rules and has taken down a variety of games, including, here's the list. This is a great list. Okay. Incest Tales, Sister and Mom, Sex Village, Tales, Webcam Daughter, Slave of the Police Officer, Interactive Sex, Incest Twins Episode 3, Incest Daughters BDSM Episode 1, Incest Daughters BDSM Episode 2, Interactive Sex, Incest Twins Episode 4, Interactive Sex, Futanari Incest Episode 4, Interactive Sex, Futanari Incest BDSM, Interactive Sex, Incest Daughters Episode 2, Interactive Sex, Incest Twins Episode 1, Interactive Sex, Futanari Incest Episode 1, Sex Adventures Incest Family Episode 9? Either 9 or 0. Interactive Sex Daddy Twins Incest, Interactive Sex Daddy Twins Incest BDSM, Interactive Sex Incest Daughters Episode 4, Futanari Incest Episode 2, Twin Sisters Incest BDSM, Incest Daughters Episode 1, Queen Prince Incest, and The Redemption of Li Wei. So, effectively, what has come down, I think they even had a little notice about it. They put up a notice saying, content that may violate the rules and standards set forth by Steam's payment processors and related card networks and banks or internet network providers, in particular, certain kinds of adult-only content. So this is basically what the Kiwi Farms, except for the payment processors, is that we had to censor certain things just to stay on the internet, because Liz Fong Jones was like hammering away at them. And then the credit card processors, if you want to stay monetized as a game selling platform, I guess you got to play ball. Now, the question is, and this was posed to me, because I truly believe in the complot theory that there is a group of people, you may prescribe whatever nouns that you wish to this complot, that desires to break down the fabric of society by inundating us with pornography. So, the financial institutions I consider to be an integral part of the complot to censor dissidents, right? So why is it that the complot is both promoting pornography and also demonetizing pornography like incest twins? And this is the best theory that I can come up with. I once talked to a neo-Nazi in Ukraine over fruity drinks. And his theory about why the complot, sorry, I almost said something else. The complot would both simultaneously promote pornography and then also demonetize pornography is that the complot desires to have as many white women in pornography as possible, but they want to keep the pornography to themselves because they enjoy it. And they don't want the majority of people, the coys, they don't want them to have access to this good thing that they have. I disagree with that analysis, okay? I believe that the credit card processors literally know the law of the United States of America better than any other organization, including the United States federal government. And what they are enforcing is the literal letter of the law. I know for a fact that this exists for lolicon, but I am sure that there are certain obscenity laws that still exist on the books that prohibit the interstate commerce of specific kinds of obscene sexual imagery, of which I would guess, based on looking at this list, would include rape and incest, and also perhaps lolicon itself, if the characters look particularly young, which I did not do any research in to see if that would be the case, but if I had to guess, I'm sure at least a couple of them have really, really young looking characters. So I feel like the payment processors are simply enforcing the law to the best of their ability, which you might say, well, that sounds reasonable, except banks and financial institutions were under no obligation to enforce the law until 9/11. After the Patriot Act passed, Title III of the Patriot Act effectively, in the words of Ron Paul, deputized the banks and financial institutions to act as a branch of law enforcement, because if they were to do anything that accommodated illegal activity, they could potentially be criminally liable for it. So the payment networks, in order to become a card network like American Express or Visa or Discover, you have to pay upfront $80 million just to get licensed in every state to process a transaction on a credit card. And that's not including any of the investment money. That's not including the bank. That's not including what it takes to actually get your network processing payments in such a way that you are a financially solvent entity. So these companies, these four companies, are effectively a de facto monopoly, and they have a monopoly charter from the U.S. federal government to handle almost like, what is it, like 80% of all commerce? I think it's like 98% of all internet commerce. Which, in case you're wondering, for Stripe alone, which is not even a payment network, but rather a payment processor that does business with the four networks, Stripe alone in 2024 processed 1.2 trillion dollars. I think it's even more than that. I think it was $12 trillion. It was like an absurd fucking number that amounted to like 1.2% of the entire world's GDP, and that's just Stripe. So the amount of money, the amount of power and control, and most importantly, the amount of information they harvest. Because these credit card processors, they don't just handle your money and scrape you. Like when you use a credit card, you're being scraped like a cheese grater. That cheese grater is running across your wallet, slicing off pieces of your money every time you use it. It's like 3% plus 20 cents per transaction. So if you spend $100, you're not giving that merchant or that craftsman or whatever, that service worker, $100. You're giving them $97 or $96, and that leftover goes directly into the pockets of a banker who wants you dead and your kids raped and brainwashed, and they think it's funny. Every single time you swipe a card, that's what's happening. So they have it real fucking good. These companies have it real fucking good, and they want to keep it that way. They have a good thing, and they don't want it fucked up. So they have a compliance department that knows every single law that's ever been passed like the back of its hand, and they rigorously enforce the law so that there never comes a day where Congress is like, grrr, these financial services aren't doing enough to keep incest pornography out of the hands of children. Like that'll never happen. And it's much harder to get people upset about Nazis being deplatformed or debanked, or weird, obscure pornography being deplatformed or debanked, or faraway Japanese lolicon versions of Patreon being deplatformed and debanked. Like the number of people upset about that is just this corner of the internet. The number of people who would care if they walked in and found out that their kids had bought daddy incest twin BDSM rape village number 9 using their mommy's Visa card is much, 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 much bigger, much higher, and much more politically active. That's my theory. So the first step to resolving this is to make it so that the credit card systems have absolutely no obligation, and in fact are prohibited from enforcing any kind of judgment on a transaction unless they actively believe that there is some kind of imminent risk that they must block, and then there must be like an appeals process to like prove that this is not illegal content or whatever, that you can restore that service if they're wrong. Um, so but that's never going to happen. I made a post on Twitter and I said, like, look, if anyone has a big audience and they want to talk about this shit, I'm open to it. And I actually got a little bit of interest, not like a direct offer. I think I'm being investigated by a really, 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 really big YouTuber to make the determination if I am okay to talk to. If I'm able to have a conversation on stream without flipping over the table and talking about Jews. I think I'm being reviewed by somebody at this point in time, so I'm kind of excited about that. Nothing has formally started or in proceeds, but if I could get out there and talk to people, my limit, by the way, I'm asking for at least an audience as big as mine. So I'm talking like 3,000 plus people on live stream, that preferably of a very separate audience. Anybody of that caliber. I'm debating how far I'm willing to go with that. I say anybody. I probably do mean anybody, as long as certain conditions are met. Because the thing is, I'm gonna embrace a dissociative identity disorder, and Joshua Moon, aka Null, owner of the Kiwi Farms, is going to be locked inside a box, and the clean-cut gentleman representing the United States Internet Preservation Society will be fronting instead during these conversations. So it won't be the same person, and it's impossible for me to be a hypocrite in this regard. Okay.
Thank you for watching this clip. This is the CACA. Remember to like and subscribe.